That's the second stream in a row that's done that to me. I need to check my video software, but anyway, hi. Welcome to another live stream. Just kind of goofing around again today. So I've been, uh, it's public knowledge that my current contract is most likely coming to a close. So part of the motivation for doing this, if I'm being completely honest, is taking potential opportunities that I'm in consideration for and trying out the software. And what better way to do it publicly and humiliate myself? Because why not? So today we're talking about Flox.dev. Um, this one was brought to my attention through a LinkedIn contact, and it looks pretty cool. It's uses Nix under the hood, which is definitely a different approach than most. One of the nice advantages to this is that it doesn't use containers. Unlike everything else, it's not using containers. So one of the nice things is you can kind of create an environment and share it and stack it and mash things on top of it. So it's kind of a different take on the whole developer environment. Um, and so it'll help you track packages and SBOMs and that kind of thing. But I really liked the idea that it's not using containers. I mean, containers are by nature kind of contained. But it's really cool because this allows you to kind of mix and match and build in almost infinite combinations. And they intentionally when they wrote their platform, they intentionally used familiar layouts like YAML and TOML files. Um, it almost feels like a developer tool front end for, like, when I think of like Python environments, how you can have multiple different Python envs in your system, and you can just kind of move from one to the next. So Flox is hiring, and they've and I'm kind of looking into it, and I'm interested in the tools. You can sign into FloxHub, which everybody has a hub now. From not Happy Face. Of course, live on air, I'd forget what it was called. Hugging Face. Hugging Face. There we go. Talking about AI. Of course, Docker Hub and all the hubs nowadays. So you can sign into FloxHub and look at some of the different applications that have already been built. So I'm just going to go ahead and tie in my GitHub here. Because once again, I'm kind of going in here blind, semi-blind. I looked over the documentation. I looked at a couple of their videos, that kind of thing. It's a pretty cool tool. No thanks. Just continue. Maybe later. So it gives you an idea of what kind of packages you want. Emacs. Why Emacs? No, not Emacs. Let's see if they have the ultimate text editor. So they have Vim. Is Vim enhanced on here? I am not looking through 20,000 packages. No packages for Vim enhanced. That's okay. We'll just take Vim. So Git, core utils, Vim. Oh, trying to think if there's anything else we might need. So we'll install those 3 packages. This is just through FloxHub. I haven't done anything yet. So yeah, Apple Silicon, that's what I'm running on today. I haven't decided between System 76 or Framework yet. So if you have any thoughts, put those in the comments. Okay, so I haven't installed the CLI yet, but I did go ahead and download that a little bit earlier. We'll come back to this here in a second. But one of the things I was going to point out is when they developed their tool, they use keywords that we're all familiar with, from init and install, activate. That's kind of why I got this whole Git and Python vibe. And funny enough, they're installing Python here. But flexible environments, seamless builds is container-free Kubernetes build is kind of interesting. And of course, everyone's got AI-powered development these days. So Flox is working on a version of that. Excuse me. a version of their own. But one of the things that some of these tools don't have that Flox does is this multi-agent collaboration bit that you can kind of mix and match um, different AI models and try and get the best result. So I kind of looked at use cases. So platform engineer to developers to AI agents. I'm all about that infrastructure as code life. So but just cool and up and coming company. So like I said, I went ahead and installed this earlier. Um, and so let's go ahead and jump back into the docs, Apple Silicon. Let me double click the install file here, which is funny because it's actually just a so what we just did a minute ago um, was actually a customized installer. So it's going to check and see if it can actually be installed. And everyone always reads the license keys, right? Sure, I agree. Take my firstborn. That's fine. Oh, got to put in my password here. If you're watching live, really appreciate it. These have been kind of fun to do. I think on Monday I'm doing a virtualization tool, which I'll feel much more comfortable with. These developer tool kits just grow and they change so fast. As someone who's not much of a developer, it's been interesting learning some of these different tools. But when you're on the job hunt, then you got to do what you got to do. If you saw me at Open Source Summit, yes, I'm still dealing with the same sinus garbage that I was on my way home. And that was like a week and a half ago. And I got Southeast Linux Fest next week, so that'll be fun. Installation was successful. That's what you want to see. Okay, so we've got it installed. Open a terminal. This will replace any Nix installation. What's funny is I thought they meant NixOS. Okay. So what's cool is their tool's actually designed to be installed over. I haven't tried Warp. So question in the chat is if I've tried Warp or not, and I actually haven't. I've heard great things about Warp though. Just haven't tried it myself. So let me. I did not open a terminal window for this. And just kind of laid back, maybe an adult beverage. This goes on too long. All right, there we go. Now I've got a terminal window here. I am a professional. Okay, and then I want to swing my instructions over a bit so I can see what I'm doing. Let's try it. Flox -- version. Boom, 1.12.2. That's what we're hoping to see. So now we can install the latest images here and whatnot. So let's see. Let's jump down to the quick start here now that we've got things installed. So see, this is the kind of thing that I love to see is here is our idiot-proof sample project. Let's roll with that. And Dispel says that water is the true adult beverage, and I hear that. I just drink almost a gallon of fluids a day, so I kind of like having. Actually, let's go to my Git directory here. Git clone Floxen 5. Okay, and then let's go to the Flox directory. So license, readme, main, all the usual things. Let's activate this bad boy because why not? Random software off the internet. Uh-oh. Node.js conflicts with Node.js. All right, so let's see what happened here. Sorry, I'm getting old. Failed to build environments. 2 derivations will be built. Interesting. How can I have 2 versions of Nix when I've never used this? Let me see here. Brew search Nix. Or sorry, Node.js, not Nix. Interesting. Okay, so let's brew uninstall. Hopefully this doesn't break my system. You know what? Let's do ignore dependencies. Don't worry, Todoist CLI, which I actually haven't used, but it sounds like a cool idea. Now let's try this again. Oh no. I want to list installed. Oh. Let's ask the almighty search engine. Let's do a brew list grep node. So it's lying to me. So if I do a Flox activate, see, it still conflicts. Interesting. Well, worst case, we can just throw this into It's always fun. Did I spell that right? Interesting. Maybe it didn't actually install. Interesting. Well, when all else fails in a situation like this, let's go in and let's just... Interesting. Not showing up under applications. Let's just delete this bad boy. Now, how do I delete it if it's broken? You know what? We are going to pull in the big guns here. We're going to ask Claude, because why not? Let me share that tab with you so you all can see what I'm dealing with here. go into my tech project. Okay. Working with Flox.dev, getting the following error after a fresh install. We'll ask the almighty Claude if it knows. So it says to check my manifest, the Flox list. Interesting. Is that a Flox problem, not an Eric problem? Okay, so let's see. Flox list, bun, core utils, go, NASM, Node.js 24. You know what? I may have uninstalled to do a CLI and Node.js from my MacBook without needing to. Let's remove Node.js. Interesting. Move Node.js 24. Okay. Now let's do a Flox activate. Aha! Okay, so hey Flox, FYI, that was a problem with your environment, not mine. So we're actually going to brew install to do a CLI before I forget. Oh, thank you, Claude. That would have been very confusing. Claude is a genius, not the IT guy. Hey, Isaac, thanks for hanging out. This is just kind of goofing off on a Friday afternoon, trying to install some software. Okay, so it says to activate and explore. Okay. So we're now using Flox in 5 minutes. So let's go ahead and just grab. Let's do a go run main.go. See what happens. Hello, we got a hello world. Isn't that so nice? So it wanted us to know that we didn't have to install Go ourselves, that Flox Activate does that for us. So we already looked at this command a minute ago, but let's look again. So we've got bun, core utils, go, nasm, rip, grep. That's one I haven't heard of. Looks like there's some updates ready. Yay, we're on the latest version of everything. That's really important. Oh, hey, it's going to tell us what that is now. Flox, search, rip, grep. Combines the usability of the Silver Searcher with the raw speed of grep. Oh, that sounds cool. Let's take a poke around here. Okay, so we're still sitting on my file system. Let's do Flox in 5. Of course, inside of Flox, I don't have my bash aliases. So what's really cool about this is what it's walking us through in the in the guide here is that we can actually see that there's multiple versions of these tools. So what this would allow us to do is, like, I mean, Flox is using Go right now, but if we wanted to build an application in Python or something, we could actually install different libraries, different versions, different supporting packages, and we could manage all that using Flox. And what's great is then if we wanted to do, say, a Flox auth login, which would probably allow me to connect my FloxHub account, then we can actually use a lot of Git style commands to add and push and pull different images from FloxHub. So Let's see, services. Let's see if it's as intuitive as it seems. Oh, status. Interesting. So there's a stopwatch service. Um, okay, so it's let's see. Okay, so if you're going through the quick start guide, you're going through the quick start guide. Um, Next in line, we could actually customize our shell. That way, like my long listing alias would work when I hit LL. Cross-platform environments, since most everyone uses Mac and Linux these days. And this is what kind of caught my attention, was that you can reuse and combine environments. So, like I was talking about, if you're using different different versions of Python, you can actually just kind of mix and match. And what's great is they've already got a community that they're building on Slack and Discourse. Let's see if there's anything a little bit more substantial. Again, I'm new to the tool, so this is the problem. Anytime you get something set up like Kubernetes or even sometimes a new Linux system, it's like, okay, cool. I have a prompt. It says it's online. Packages are updated. Now what? Let's see if there's any tutorials that might let us dive in a little bit farther. Migration guides. Yeah, so not really. I mean, it showed us services and packages and how to update packages, um, and so Dispel's asking if I can explain what it's supposed to be. So what Flox is it's a developer environment. Excuse me. So if you have multiple developers trying to work on an application, you can actually build a standardized environment. So that whole works on my machine thing is no longer a problem as long as you're using the very same Flox environment. And that's where let me share that window again. So that's where the FloxHub comes in, which we didn't finish. So that's interesting. It actually can see the environment that I just installed. That's really cool. And looks like we set it up 19 minutes ago, and so we haven't done any pushes or pulls or commits or anything. That's really cool. But what I can do here, let's do one I'm familiar with here. What about Nginx? Can I build like a web server based on all this? Yeah, so Nginx. This is a lot like Docker Hub in the fact that you can have a base image. Like, I'm sure this is semi-officially maintained. Okay, so it doesn't say, but it does have an SPOM that we could open. But this feels a lot like a Docker Hub, but for a different purpose. Instead of building all your development in a container, which you don't want to do because as soon as the container dies, you lose everything that you were building in memory. This is like a step above that. This is allowing you to go in and create an actual environment. So instead of handing a developer a virtual machine, you could just hand a developer a link to FloxHub and just say, hey, for our widget selling app, use this environment. It's already got Nginx set up. I mean, does it go as far as like a full-flown application? Oh yeah, so it's got Drupal in it. Gosh, what else might we use? I'm sure like wget and that kind of thing is part of it. So if we needed to move files around, but you could basically set up an environment. So it's one thing to share containers, which are ephemeral. The moment that you kill a container, it's gone, unless you're doing some kind of file system share, some kind of file system mount. So this allows you to build an entire development environment, upload it to FloxHub, or I'm sure if I were paying for it, I'd have some kind of private repository that I could upload my environments to. But this means that as someone who would build these environments and make them available to developers, I could just create an environment with all the exact versions of production and just say, here, this is the environment, build your stuff off of this, pull the environment from FloxHub, pull the code from GitHub, and just go to town. Start developing, start building features, start building new web pages. In fact, I wonder if something like if I could use this to, yeah, I bet you I could use I bet I could use this to build out a WordPress replacement in a safe development environment until it's ready to be pushed to my production web server. I could take this with me on the road so that even if I just have my laptop, um, goodness, this is pretty cool. But I bet you if I dug in a little bit deeper that maybe I could use this to develop a brand new Hugo website, for instance, and uh, and develop my website against this, committed up to GitHub. I wouldn't have to stand up a full web server. And then when I was ready, I could shut down WordPress and spin up a Hugo container, or sorry, not a Hugo container, but I could render the HTML and then just make that available to Nginx. That might be an interesting use case. Um, but this imageless Kubernetes thing. Okay, so like C, C++, Go, JVM, Node.js, Python, Ruby, Rust, a catalog store. Okay, and that looks like a self-hosting option. Um, oh yeah, package group. So if we wanted to build like a Node app, I bet, and the fact that it uses YAML and TOML files, a lot like Ansible or Kubernetes, just really sounds cool. I'd be really interested in getting a Kubernetes cluster up and running, and then using imageless Kubernetes. You know what? Why not? Let's do this last web server with Redis on kind, which is Kubernetes in Docker. I think that's what this is referring to. You can run a container just like in any other Kubernetes deployment. Let's try this one before we wrap it up. And so Dispel has some great questions, but say you're making a program and you don't write a requirements.txt. Does this handle that? That's a great question. And unfortunately, this is I've been playing with this for about an hour and been streaming for about 30 minutes. So I honestly don't know. This tool is brand new to me. So, but let's go ahead and I swear I'm not dying. At least that I know of. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's exit out of this environment. Exit. There we go. All right, and let's back up here, and we'll do a git clone. Let's try this Redis server, all that kind of good stuff here. Oh, Flox. Isn't that clever? They're that's cool. They built a command with double ampersands, which means that if the current command fails, don't do the rest of the chain. But they actually did a git clone with double ampersands to cd into the new directory, and then double ampersands, and then flox activate. So instead of me typing that out, I could have just copy and pasted their command. But anyway. Let's check on a couple of things here while that's running. Okay, so starting Kalima, Docker, creating and starting, downloading disk image. This is pretty cool. Okay, now we're downloading Kubernetes in Docker. I'm assuming that's the kind that this is referring to. So while that's running here, we'll jump back over here for a second. So it'll allow us to pull up quotes. Deploys a web server backed by Redis to fetch something from the web server. Run curl localhost quotes. Oh, okay, so this is quotes app environments. Example runs deployment of Flox quotes app, which is just like any other Kubernetes deployment, but with a few key differences. I always love that. It's the same, except it's different. I see a smiley face emoji in my terminal. That's always a good sign. kubectl cluster info context kind flox shim. Waiting on replicas to be available. Oh, Kubernetes, how I've missed you. Which, by the way, if you didn't know, I actually have a Discord server. If you want to join in and join the conversation or suggest some tools that I should give a try to. In fact, one of them that was mentioned was Warp, which I've actually heard quite a bit about. Oh, am I sharing this window? I'm not. We're looking at my terminal. It's always fun to do on the fly. So, well, that container's coming up here. So you've got Warp, which I've heard quite a bit of. And what's nice is they have a Brew installer, which, if you're not familiar, if you're running macOS, Brew is a lot like DNF. It's really, really nice. It makes my life easier running macOS. Although as soon as I get the job situation figured out, I really, really want to get either a framework or a System 76 laptop. I just haven't decided which yet. But yeah, Warp I've heard good things about, and you can use the built-in, or you can use Claude or ChatGPT and start developing. Oh, it's now open source. Cool. But anyway, yeah, Warp is one I've heard good things about. That just takes me back to the docs page. Well, we'll wrap up this example here and call it a day. It is Friday afternoon, and I am running Savage Worlds tonight, so I should probably finish my session notes for that, don't you think? For those of you that aren't familiar, Savage Worlds is very similar to Dungeons and Dragons. It's a lot more fun though, a lot easier to run. Yeah, I know. A lot of people hate Mac and Apple and all that kind of stuff. Don't judge me. I like Mac OS, and works with my iPhone and my iPad and my HomePods, all the things. It just works. But I do miss running Fedora on a day-to-day basis. Especially being the Fedora podcast host. Kind of would be nice if I was running Mac, don't you think? So it looks like it has an 8-minute timeout, so we're still well within that, I'm sure. How's the job hunt going? And are you sticking with DevRel? I kind of have enjoyed working so much with the open source community over the last couple of months. I really kind of wish that it was my full-time job. Honestly, if Red Hat would hire me to work full-time on Fedora, I would do whatever it was needed, documentation, the podcast, all the different things. I've really been enjoying the DevRel approach. I get to focus on people, and the last few days I've spent more time in the terminal than I have as a marketing person. But yeah, I'm looking around for and I'm keeping my eyes out for technical marketing, technical pre-sales, like solutions architecture work, DevRel, community management. So I've got more of these live streams planned for different companies that I'm looking to work with. Just kind of kick the tires of their products, but also say, hey, look, this is kind of what you'd get. Imagine how much better your onboarding documentation would be. Actually, I did Coders yesterday, which was a really cool tool, and I sent the stream over to the hiring manager. It's like, I didn't do great with it, but here it is. I kind of went in unprepared, and and just this is me, fresh out of the box, playing with your tool. And his response was basically, this gave our team like 10 new ideas. It's like, and that's why I do what I do. It's even in failure, especially in failure, you learn a lot of things. We'll give this a few more minutes, but we may call it. Um, my MacBook Air is probably not the best place to be running even a small Kubernetes installation. Although looking at my system resources, it's doing okay. Of course, Chrome is eating up all the bandwidth, or not all the bandwidth, all the RAM. It's using all the things. But that's why I got a MacBook Air with like 24 gigs of RAM. Not like 24 gigs, 24 gigs, like a terabyte NVMe drive. So all this stuff takes up a lot of space. The only thing I wish this MacBook had was the only thing that I wish this MacBook had, which it then wouldn't be an Air, would be an onboarding or an onboard GPU. Because when I go to render some of these videos, it takes forever. But then again, it's 15-inch laptop, super light, super small. Dispel from Twitch asks, do you have access to an unlimited VPN? I don't currently have a need for a VPN, a traditional VPN. I actually use Tailscale to get from my devices into my home lab and into my apartment. So Tailscale is the free version of Tailscale. It's basically my VPN. So there's answering your question without answering your question. All right, I want to let this run for another minute or so. This may be Mac hardware limitation, but I'm going to fill up my water real quick. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. It failed. Timed out. Okay, so yeah, it's definitely kind Kubernetes and Docker, which is cool. But let's try one last time. If we do Flox activate just up, let's try this one more time. See if maybe we see fail to create already exists with the name FloxShim. So maybe it just timed out. Maybe the command itself. Maybe it's actually running. So let's try and pull a quote. Failed to connect. All right, well. Well, it was fun. It's a cool idea. I might try this again and see if I can get it working when I have a little bit more time to sit down and troubleshoot it. But yeah, at the moment, that didn't work. Let's see. Here, so it's not up, so doing it down isn't going to work. Hmm. Yeah, I'll have to play with this and get back to y'all. Maybe I'll do a short video if I get this working, because it'd be cool to be able to run Kubernetes here on my local machine. All right, y'all. Well, that's going to do it for me today. I might do one of these over the weekend. One that I'm really excited about is Vates, the folks behind XCP-ng. I wouldn't mind. I enjoy Proxmox, but I wouldn't mind having something that's based on enterprise Linux instead of Debian. So I'm always thinking about replacing Proxmox, especially if I could get a small, like Intel NUC based cluster or something running in my apartment here. Anyway, folks, thanks for tuning in. I'm still working on the next episode of the IT Guy Show. Excuse me. I'm still working on the next episode of the IT Guy Show, but definitely check out the previous one where I talked to Josh, from Keep It Techie. We talked about home labs and actually talked about 45 home labs as a potential user. And I'm getting an ask for a link to Discord here. So let me grab the Discord link and let me grab that before we call it. Actually, I think my website still has that redirect set up. It does. It does. So if you go to https itguyeric.com/discord, that'll actually redirect you to the active link, to the active invite for my Discord server. It's pretty dead. I don't I don't do a lot of I don't spend a lot of time on it. I should probably fix that, but yeah, and some cough drops and some hot tea would help as well. But yeah, jump on over to itguyeric.com/discord. That'll connect you to my Discord server. Make sure you go out to itguyeric.com/podcast and get subscribed to the audio podcast or my YouTube channel right here. You can connect and see the video version. All right, folks. I think that about does it. I want to send this off to the powers that be, and maybe work with Flox team and see why that Kubernetes example didn't work. But anyway, until then, stay tuned and please comment, like, subscribe, all the things. Just put a comment in there, even if it's like, "Hey, good stream," because that helps kind of grease the algorithm a little bit. All right, folks. Anyway.